Many years ago, the BBC used to put on a Saturday night, the black and white minstrel show. This is where white men would dress up in blackface, comedically awful blackface, it must be said, but dress up as blackface and do the old white gloves and do the yo mama kind of handshakes and things, jazz hands. And they'd sing songs, and every week there'd be a new guest, and they'd do this. And it was seemed to be good, wholesome family entertainment for white people to dress up as black people, to put on that blackface and sing. And this was for years. We're talking maybe 40 years that this show was around. And then all of a sudden it started to become problematic, and dressing up inappropriately, putting on blackface, yellowface, seemed to be wrong. I'm not even going to get into the argument about women face. That's another thing. And we're currently seeing with Bradley Cooper, who's doing Leonard Bernstein, and they're talking about Jew face because he's wearing this prosthetic nose to give him like a Jewish look on his nose. And so putting on these fake attributes of another culture or another ethnicity is seen to be very, very wrong. And of course, leading the charge on this woke wankery is of course the BBC. The BBC are notoriously woke. And so it seems very weird, I think, that the very organisation that is pushing against this kind of stuff will be the very organisation that is reintroducing blackface. In fact, it's odd, isn't it? Although, strictly speaking, it's reintroducing black hand. Let's have a look at this article and see what's going on. But it isn't right. It's completely wrong. And it is the very worst kind, I think, of virtue signalling. But here goes. Now, I'm not going to start at the top of this piece. I'm just going to start straight away with this image. And this is like a stock photo that they use. It was used for the Welsh election, or the general election in Wales, whatever it was used for. It doesn't matter what it's used for. It's obviously, some kind of you must vote kind of reminder thing. And it's obviously for Wales. And that's fine. We've got no issue at all with the people of Wales. We welcome their vote. There's no reason why the people of Wales shouldn't have a vote. Excellent. There. Perfectly good. Nothing wrong with that at all. Remember to vote. There's a hand putting a ballot into a ballot box. Okay, so we'll just come up here to the top. Why did the BBC manipulate this genuine photograph of a white voter's hand to make it black? Politicians have rounded on the BBC after staff seemingly doctored the image. The BBC was facing questions last night after it admitted using a blacked up image as part of its election coverage. Politicians rounded on the corporation after it merged staff. It said might have doctored an image. Definitely doctored the image. Wait till you see the image. Of a white woman's hand to make it look like it was that of a black voter. An almost identical in fact, it's the same photo but just photoshopped. With a white hand had been used in a previous story about voting 4 years earlier. Both photos show a female hand with a white manicure and a blue and white striped cuffs, putting a blank piece of paper in a Welsh ballot box. The original image with the white hand is bylined Getty Images and was used on the BBC News website in 2018, and an article about lowering the voting age in Wales. The altered image with the black hand, was used in March last year in a story about Welsh council elections. And so they've taken quite obviously the same image and just manipulated it, and now it's a black person voting. Why? And when you see the two, you can see them side by side. White, black. It is the same thing. All they've done is a bit of background change. But other than that, it's the same image, but they've blacked up the hand. Why? Why? Are they saying that, we don't show enough black people on television and this image has a white hand? Well, okay, that's fine. Then go and reshoot the image and get a black person to put their hand in. Why would you take a white person and apply blackface to a white person just to push some kind of image? Why do you constantly feel the need to push identity politics? Are you suggesting, perhaps, that it being a white hand, black people are too stupid to understand what a vote is? That seems to be the take here from the BBC. If we don't show a black hand, then black people won't know they can vote because we think black people are stupid. That seems to be the line the BBC are taking, rather than just a generic picture that existed beforehand. Tory MP Peter Bone, he's my local MP actually. So, well, he's not my local MP, he's the next constituency over, but he's local to me. Tory MP Peter Bone said, "Why on earth would anyone want to change the colour of a hand? The BBC has serious questions to answer. First, they've got to explain why on earth that happened. What was the reasoning for it? What was the thought behind it? And what were they trying to say? Did they falsify the image?" Well, it's quite clear, yes, they did. And we know they're pushing identity politics. What they don't like in this country is the fact, and what the BBC hates is, that the UK as a whole, only 3% of the population are black. There's no getting away from it. It's a fact. And they don't like it. And so they overrepresent black people. But by doing so, underrepresent white people. And if the BBC isn't being representative, then what is the point? What is the point of it not being representative? And indeed, someone once pointed out that if you watch television adverts, if you you would suggest from the adverts that the population in this country is 40% black and that virtually everyone is in a mixed race marriage. And indeed, there's one of the problems that I have. Even I can't remember who it was, Trevor Phillips, I think, himself a black man and an advocate for these kind of things. And he said what he finds on television is adverts are so insulting because when you watch them, he seems to be that why is it on adverts that black people only ever want to date white people? You know, you see this white woman, black man, or usually that way around. Sometimes it's a black woman, white man. But what they're saying is that black people don't find black people attractive. And this is what he's pointed. In their rush to be virtuous and to be inclusive, they're actually excluding one basic demographic, and that is black married couples. You very rarely see a black married couple on television. It's usually mixed race because they're trying to be inclusive and show that we're not racist, look. Whereas if you actually were to represent people on television represented in the country as a whole, there would be far, far, far fewer black and Asian people on television. And the BBC don't like this because it goes against everything they stand for, which is to lie, which is to misrepresent, which is to put down the vast majority of people in this country. And when they sit there with their woke wankery, with their attitudes that, oh, we know best, we're the best, and then apply blackface to a white person to push an agenda, you know that we are through the looking glass. The BBC now approve of blackface. Aren't we in a strange, strange position? I'm not going to read the rest of it because it's just people talking heads and moaning about it. But it is absolutely astounding that this has gone through and nobody questioned it. Nobody thought, hang on a minute, why are we using blackface? Rather, the BBC's got photographers. Go and recreate a photograph or do a new photograph with a black person. Nobody would object. But what they object to is blackface. The BBC are saying that white people aren't as worthy to be represented. And so they'll get a black person to do it as well. Strange. Anyway, I shall stop there and come up. Is it any wonder so many people, in record numbers, are dumping the BBC licence? They just don't want anything to do with this hate-filled organisation. This organisation, which is now officially anti-white, it's pushing anti-white racism and making that a virtue. It's weird. I haven't paid my BBC licence for years and I refuse to do so. I don't watch it. It's shit. And I don't want anything to do with it. I think if they went to a subscription model, they'd struggle because nobody would pay for this kind of crap. And they know it. And the only way they get away with this is because they have got a guaranteed income. Well, it's time to take away that guaranteed income and move to a subscription model. Make them stand out there on their own, promising the best product they can give, and see how many people are willing to pay to use the BBC. I suspect a lot fewer than they believe. Anyway, I shall stop there. We shall leave the racist BBC alone, and we shall go and finish this video. Thank you very much for watching. If you like what you're seeing here on the channel, do please hit the subscribe button. Please do. We're pushing on up. We're broadening the stream. We're getting a lot wider, and it means that a lot more people will see the truth. And if you are subscribed, thank you. Till next time, stay safe, stay well, and join us in the fight as we say that the truth will always come out. And goodbye.